I don't know what I'm gonna title this video. I don't even know how to start this. All I know is that I figured out how to enjoy life again and how to enjoy working again. Like, I lost it. I lost it for the past month and a half. The past month and a half, dude, I have just become the most shallow and hollow person ever. Like, I was just the worst version of myself ever. I just felt so just nothing. Nothing existed. I was so empty. And I figured out what it was, man. I remember I made a video a long time ago about dopamine and how it can negatively affect you. Let me turn on this fucking... Why are you honking, bro? What the fuck are you honking for? About how like dopamine can affect you and like make you not enjoy life or working or practicing. And I was absolutely right in that video. Everything I did, I followed what I talked about in the video. I got rid of TikTok. I got rid of porn. I got rid of like a lot of dopaminergic activities, the stuff that just drains your dopamine in your brain. And what I didn't get rid of was what I realize now is the issue, which is stacking dopamine. When you stack activities that are dopaminergic on top of each other. And so I end up replacing a life of useless dopaminergic activities, and I replaced it with a bunch of healthy things, right? I'm aim training, I'm editing videos, I'm going to the gym. And what I didn't realize is I was falling down into the same pit I've been in before with an addiction, essentially. You know, all addictions are rooted in dopamine. And what was happening for this past month is I didn't tell myself no to anything I was doing. I never told myself no because it was under this disguise of being healthy. And then progressively, week after week, day after day, everything started becoming more and more boring. Life became more and more hollow. This anxiety was creeping up on me, and it eventually turned into full-blown existential dread. And I couldn't sleep at night, bro. I'd wake up anxious. Like, I was in a horrible state of mind for the past month and a half. I'm not gonna lie, bro. I was in a horrible state of mind. And I found a physical solution to it. So dopamine, right? This is the scale of dopamine. Let's just put an arrow. This is high dopamine, this is low dopamine. And this is your baseline, okay? Boom. All right, before I get into this too, this is about to be so bro science, so dumbed down. I don't really understand fully what I'm talking about. All I know is it fucking works, dude, okay? I saw some video on it and I'm about to dumb it down as much as possible into how I understand it, okay? So if there's some fucking neuroscientists out there, eat my dick. So this is your baseline of dopamine, okay? This is like where you are at just throughout the day. And if you're here, you don't feel good, you don't feel bad, you just feel neutral, you're calm, right? And so if you do an activity, you know, you increase your dopamine, you go above baseline and it feels good. But the thing with dopamine is that you only have a limited amount of dopamine, and there's always like a inverse effect. So however much you peak above baseline, there will be a drop off, right? So you'll drop off down here and then you eventually recover and you go back to baseline. There's an equilibrium that happens with your dopamine. And so TikTok, think of these as like dopamine spikes. They spike your dopamine, right? Boom, spike, boom, spike. TikTok, boom, beat your meat 3 hours a day, boom. Cocaine, boom. You got all these spikes, ready? What happens is after these spikes happen, you have to recover from them. Like your dopamine, you only have a certain amount of dopamine a day and it has to regenerate. During the time where you have no dopamine, you feel like shit. You feel like dog shit. And this is like when you feel bad. It's like when it goes below baseline. And the thing with dopamine is dopamine always wants more dopamine. This is like what spikes, right? Dopamine spikes. We all know this is bad. We all know TikTok's bad. We all know bad. Don't do that, right? We all know that. And that's what I was doing. But what I didn't realize is that like I was taking healthy things. So it's like aim training, right? It doesn't really spike your dopamine that much. But then I was stacking it. So it's like aim training plus caffeine in the morning plus podcast plus checking my phone, right? It's so dopaminergic because how much dopamine I'm stacking on top of each other that it pretty much peaks the same as porn, right? And then boom, I had to recover. My days ended up becoming just spikes with just hard recovery, nap or time in silence with another spike and then a hard recovery and then another spike and a hard recovery. And I would have to like recover from these like dopamine spikes. Because a lot of times when people, they'll use porn and then they'll end up going below baseline and then they'll try and recover. So they'll end up like watching TV and it'll bring them back up a little bit, make them feel a little bit better. But now you used even more dopamine, so you're gonna drop even further. And then they try and recover even more. So let's say they go on TikTok now, so they use a little bit more dopamine, they feel a little bit better, but now they drop even below baseline even more. And it's just this constant just pitfall where you just fall and fall and fall. That's what happens if you use dopamine when you're below baseline. You engage in activities when you're below baseline. You end up falling further and further away from your baseline and you feel more and more like shit. And so what I was doing is I would spike, and then when I would go below baseline, I wouldn't use any dopamine, right? I would just wait till it recovers and then it would naturally just recover. And then boom, I'd spike again. It goes down and then naturally recovered, and then boom, I'd spike again. Also, when I recover, I wouldn't recover fully. It kept on going lower and lower and lower like this, because I would never just have like not a spike. It'd always just be me working resting, working, resting, working, resting constantly. I started losing enjoyment and stuff. Nothing was fun anymore. Everything was boring because now I'm like all the way down here, right? Like spike, I start getting lower and lower. I'm like down here. Let's say I want to talk to someone. It only brings me up like right here. And that's so far below baseline. That's boring. I don't give a fuck. Let me go and aim train with music. That brings me back up here. I feel a little bit better, right? So everything that wouldn't get me back to baseline or even close to it, boring. I don't give a fuck about it. Get away from me. Like people talk to me, get away from me. I don't care. I was just so hollow, bro. And I didn't understand why, because I'm doing healthy things. I'm getting rid of TikTok. I'm getting rid of all these dopaminergic shit. I'm having time and silence to rest, but I was still stacking and spiking. The other thing too is when you end up using your dopamine is that dopamine and adrenaline, they work together. Whenever you are engaged in activity, a little bit of adrenaline is released along with dopamine, and they counteract each other. They help you focus, something like that. I don't know. I told you this would be really bro science. But if you run out of dopamine and you're below baseline and you have no more, all you have left is adrenaline, and that adrenaline is gonna make you feel anxious. So I was just so far below baseline because all these spikes that I had like no dopamine left over, and I just had just pure adrenaline. I was just so anxious throughout the day, and it eventually turned into, you know, full-blown depersonalization again. I ended up like depersonalizing, and then it turned into like full-on existential anxiety and existential dread, death anxiety, really scary shit, bro. I couldn't go to sleep without my mind racing about existence, consciousness, life and death, and I was obsessed over it. And it wasn't like I was interested in it. I was obsessed over it because of how anxious it was. Like I was just anxious in general, and my mind, my anxiety just attached onto something that was unsolvable. It just attached on it, and I had no like logical answer to it. I couldn't calm it down. I realized the things I had to do was just calm down physically, first off. That helps with anxiety. I can make another video about that with depersonalization and stuff. But the other thing was just to get my dopamine back to being around baseline, because when I'm so far below, all I have is adrenaline. There's nothing to counteract that anxiety, which is produced by the adrenaline. And the way to get rid of this, there's a protocol you can do. So before you engage in any activity, right? Say I'm about to aim train and I want to listen to music. Before you do anything that's dopaminergic or dopamine stacking, you flip a coin and then allow yourself to do it. If you get whatever you're looking for, I always go for heads. So right, let's say I'm about to aim train today, right? Aim train will normally bring me this much dopamine. I want to listen to music. I flip a coin, I get heads. Okay, I can listen to music now. And then it goes up to here, and you know, go down, and then I end up recovering. And then later on in the day, let's say I want to aim train again. Okay, I flip the coin. Oh, I get tails this time. So now I only go up to here. And this essentially just halves all your spikes and all your useless peaks in dopamine. The simple activities become more enjoyable, more fun, and it prevents you from peaking all the time. And it allows you to separate activities from combinations, and it allows you to enjoy the activity just for the activity itself. Because what ended up happening was, for the past month and a half, I was aim training like crazy, bro. But I didn't just like aim training. I would aim train, caffeine, podcast. It was like a bunch of just peaks, and I couldn't just aim train. I couldn't just aim train. I had to do all of them, right? It was all these stacks. And I couldn't separate the aim training from that stack and just enjoy aim training. What this ended up causing me to do, because I couldn't enjoy aim training, I couldn't get focused on the task itself. I was focused on the combination of all of them. And I ended up just plateauing. I ended up plateauing like crazy with my aim training because I wasn't focused on the activity I was doing. And so when you do the coin flip protocol, there's gonna be times where you don't get to listen to music. You just have to aim train. When you do this, you will enjoy the activities you used to enjoy again. If you want to enjoy something for the rest of your life and pursue something for the rest of your life and actually like find pleasure and enjoyment out of it, you have to do the coin flip protocol in order to do that. Because if given the opportunity to aim train plus music plus caffeine, I will choose all three all the time. I would never say no to that peak. And then I'm never allowed to just enjoy just aim training itself. I always have to have all of them, if that makes sense. So it's like, it helps you, the coin flip helps you ground yourself and not peak so much, and also not engage in random dopaminergic activities like listen to music while you're driving. You can flip the coin. If you get nothing, if you get tails, then don't listen to anything. Just drive around. You just got to enjoy like things for what they are. And that coin flip protocol allows you to do that, because that's the other thing that can happen, is that if given the choice to choose to stack or not your dopamine, I will always choose yes. And I'm sure a lot of people out there will always choose yes. It's really hard to actually limit yourself responsibly. So you get rid of that power. Get rid of it. You don't have control over it. You gotta accept that you're an addict, bro. And you gotta get rid of that power to something outside of you, which the coin flip is outside of you. It's up to chance. The benefit of this as well with flipping the coin and not just going full cold turkey on stuff is that it teaches you to have a healthy relationship with engaging activities. It allows you to say yes sometimes and also allows you to say no. Because think about a guy who recovers from an alcohol addiction by going away in a Buddhist monastery for 3 years. As soon as he gets back and encounters alcohol, it's gonna be really hard for him to say no because he never learned how to say no to himself. But when you have this coin flip, you're constantly telling yourself no and you're constantly telling yourself yes, and it allows you to have that healthy relationship with these activities. Fuck, I hope this all made sense, man. Essentially, just do those things I was telling you. You're gonna find life to be more enjoyable. You're gonna also find yourself to be more focused when needed, when competing, when practicing, and that focus itself is what's gonna lead you to growth. Because, bro, I was spamming aim training like 6 hours a day, and I would take naps between each session. It was like a bunch of just quantity. It was crazy quantity. I thought it was quality. It wasn't quality at all. It wasn't quality at all. There was no dopamine left to be focused. All I cared about when I was aim training like that was hitting PRs, and all I cared about when I was playing CS was winning games because that gave me another spike. I was so addicted to dopamine. Now that I'm getting back to baseline and staying away from a lot of these just useless activities and stacking, playing CS, just playing it and just being there is fun, and it's so engaging, and I want to and I'm focused now, and I'm eager to learn. It's enjoyable to learn again. It's enjoyable to lose because I just playing itself is fun. I'm no longer addicted to the wins. I'm no longer addicted to the PRs. I can just enjoy activities for what they are again because of this protocol. And I want to talk about this, man. I have hope again, bro. I have hope again for the future, and I hope this video instills hope in a lot of other people and brings back a lot of enjoyment to your life. Thank you all for watching, man. I will be back with more videos. This shit is fun again. God bless. Hopefully this video is boring as fuck so you can learn to be okay with boring shit.
Hey! What's up, man? Just a quick little announcement for those who are interested in gaining some perks for this channel and seeing exclusive content. I recently moved all the perks of all the premium subs down to the lowest tier, so it's only $4.99 a month now. I don't stream on Twitch or nothing, fuck Twitch, so if you want to support me, do it through my YouTube. There's the 3 tiers, the $4.99 a month tier, which is like the lowest one, and then you have the other tiers. Don't worry about donating those unless you just purely want to support. So hopefully this is helpful to some people, and I appreciate anyone who signs up, man. I really do appreciate it, man. I love y'all boys. Y'all have a good rest of your day.
Not all my videos are about meat beating.